Let's just have a look at that. Although you kind of inferred that the idea of, you know, kingmakers and stuff might be a bit silly, but straight away last night, of course, Maori Party were the kingmakers, and Debbie Ngarewa Packer was on, I think it's called the AM show now this morning, and she was asked directly, you know, if you were in that position come election day, could you work with ACT? Because I guess ACT is the party that would be hardest on paper for the Maori Party to work with, and this was her response.
Our simple, short answer is we will only work with those who are focused on treaty-centric Aotearoa, a future-focused Aotearoa addressing equality and equity.
And is that the ACT Party?
We've always said that. We've always said what our focus will be, and it'll be our people that will determine it the day after the elections, and we've always been true to that.
So you would.
So there you go. It's a very political answer. There's no there, and I guess that's a smart thing to do. But if that's genuinely what Maori Party feel, one has to question how they could ever work with an ACT party. And saying that earlier on in that interview, she did explain that treaty-centric wasn't left or right. She said it was basically Maori and centric. And so actually, she also said clearly within that, saying it's not left or right, you could infer that that means she can work with left or the right. And I don't know, maybe in this world of politics where people, you know, find several ways to skin a cat, you have the ACT Party on supply and demand, but not in Parliament, and the Maori Party in Parliament with national, there's a government.
I think her answer was, you're absolutely right. It's you know, perfect. It's politics 101. You don't rule anything out or in, and it really it's batted the ball back into ACT's court. You know, David Seymour now has 18 months to work out how he can justify some of his policies with the treaty. Good luck. Would be my simple answer to that. And we've seen stranger things happen. I mean, we've seen stranger bedfellows in politics over the years.
Maori Party in the past have also been quite pragmatic, and when they went with John Key's National Party, they were very much, you know, it's better to be inside the tent where you can affect a change than outside the tent, not having to prove yourself like National at the moment because you have no ability to do anything.
Yeah, so, and it's one thing to essentially rule out working with a party that's polling on 2%. Then ruling out working with the party which, at least according to this poll, is leading. I mean, again, that's pragmatic. You can take a swing at ACT. You can afford to do that. You're not ruling out an entire side of the political divide by doing that.
I wonder if Labour is now starting a conversation today around, do we support the Maori Party in their seats so they can be our partner? Or do we try and win all those Maori Party seats back, thus eliminating the Maori Party and not having to have them potentially go to national? Wonder how that conversation goes around those big tables.
Well, again, it goes back to what I was saying about that gear shift that they're going to have to. I'm sure, you know, I'm not underestimating what goes on behind closed doors at Parliament. I'm sure this conversation is happening. But yeah, that's the shift. That's one of the shifts that Labour is going to have to go is moving from this. To bring up the titled phrase, treating us all as a team of 5 million to treating us as a team of potentially 2.5 million Labour voters. You know, and that's a shift. That's going to be a big shift. They've done a remarkable job over the last couple of years of, I guess, to use the American term, bipartisanship. You know, they've treated the whole country as if it's one, and going into an election. That's a seismic shift that you have to make. Is you're not treating the whole country as one. You're treating it as us and them. And it's going to be a different ball game for them.
And that's tough when you get into become a government because you've done the us and them to win, and then you have to go back to the team of 5 million because you do have to govern for everybody, even though it's from your political perspective.
Absolutely, and it's something I think the Prime Minister has done extremely well. I mean, I think. And you know, full disclosure here, I know her personally, and it is her as a human being. I mean, that the kindness side that you see is not a political ploy. That's part of her DNA, and it's one of the reasons why, you know, I kind of believe her when initially she said, you know, she didn't want the leadership, because I'm not sure that the cutthroat side of it is something, certainly not whatever it is, coming up on 6 years ago. Now, I mean, she's a lot more battle hardened, and she's got a strong team around her. Yeah, I'm certainly not ruling anybody out at this point. I think the next 18 months are going to be different but interesting.